On the day we were getting our marriage license, my boyfriend wanted me to adopt his sister's child. On the day we were getting our marriage license, my boyfriend said he wanted to register his sister's child under my name. She's pregnant out of wedlock, and people will judge her. If the child is registered under your name, it'll be considered ours. I flat out refused. My boyfriend was furious. He stormed off, saying, "We'll get our marriage license only when you agree." I scoffed and quickly posted on social media. Anyone want to get their marriage license with me? Husband needed, apply now. 10 minutes later, my childhood friend, driving a sports car, made a flashy entrance. No backing out. July in Bridgewater. I held my college diploma and stood with my boyfriend, Marcus, under the gilded sign that read City Hall Registrar. My mind was buzzing. We were finally going to get our happy ending, but then, he dropped a bombshell that left me stunned. My sister is pregnant out of wedlock. Once the baby is born, we'll register it under your name. That's fine, right? I stared at him, unable to process what he'd said. Your sister? Isn't she just 18? Yes. Is there a problem? He said it with such pride, so matter-of-factly. I didn't laugh. I just felt a profound sense of irony. Your sister gets pregnant out of wedlock, and I'm supposed to become the child's mother? Aren't you worried people will gossip about me? He frowned. You're overthinking it. It's not a big deal. You're just putting your name on it, right? She's upset, and it breaks my heart. I can't just ignore her. Either way, it's the Hayes bloodline. It's the same if you raise it. I refused him flatly, without even looking back. I don't agree. Your sister may be your family's darling, but I'm not your family's dumping ground, for you to dump all your problems on. Marcus's face turned ashen, as if I'd stepped on his tail, turning from pale to purple. What kind of language is that? Gee. Grace, you won't even help with such a small matter? Fine, then we'll only get our marriage license when you're willing. I didn't try to stop him. I watched him angrily flag down a taxi and leave. The scorching sun beat down on my face. Gritting my teeth, I opened my cell phone and posted a new status on social media. Bridgewater City Hall Registrar. Anyone willing to get a marriage license with me? Husband needed, apply now. Less than 10 minutes later, a flashy yellow convertible sports car pulled up smoothly in front of me. A young man stepped out of the driver's seat. He was wearing a red leather jacket. He walked towards me, silhouetted against the light. His features were sharp, like a rebellious protagonist bursting out of a comic book panel. Grace. I'm here. He smiled boldly, his eyes dark with intensity. No backing out. After getting the marriage license, Alex looked at the marriage certificate, like a child who had won an award. He flipped through it, a look of triumph on his face. You really married me. He grinned, then put on his sunglasses. Grace, it's too late to back out now. I didn't say anything. I just sighed. I sat in a chair at the marriage registry office, staring blankly. I looked at him. Aren't you hot? The sunlight danced on his red leather jacket. As flamboyant as fire. Today is an important day. Being stylish is what matters most. He suddenly stood up and pulled me to my feet. Come on, let's go buy gifts. What kind of gifts? Wedding gifts. We need to get rings first. Before I could even react, he had already made a phone call. He booked the entire building of Bridgewater's largest shopping mall. Mr. Davies, the manager, jogged down to greet us. Smiling, he said, Mr. Alex, please pick anything you like. Whatever Grace likes, just take it. I looked at the rows of jewelry and evening gowns. My eyes were dazzled by the glittering display. It was like stepping into a fairy tale. Alex pulled me along to try on a selection of rings. In the end, I chose a pair of simple platinum wedding bands. I hadn't even warmed to them yet. Mr. Alfred, the Alex family's butler, suddenly appeared, carrying a black velvet box. This is an emerald necklace that Grandpa bought at the London house last month. He said that if Alex got married, it absolutely had to be given to his wife. I was stunned. Your grandpa already knows so soon? Alex shook his head. I took it upon myself to bring it. Let's not rush announcing the marriage just yet. I'm worried they'll bother you. We'll surprise them later. I instinctively refused. It's too valuable. Alex raised an eyebrow. You're my wife. If you wanted the stars, I'd pluck them from the sky for you. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Alex, you weren't like this before. I didn't dare before. Now your name is mine. As he spoke, he opened another interface on his tablet. He showed me photos of various luxury homes. We need a marital home. Which ones do you like? No need to pick just yet. I looked up at him. I'm going to graduate school. At my old university. He paused. The next second, he leaned back on the sofa, crossing his long legs. With a roguish air, he smirked. All right then, I'll get a position there. I'll have to go to campus every day to keep an eye on my wife. He laughed, his eyes serious, as if he wasn't joking. What if someone bullies you? The afternoon sun was just right. I leaned back in Alex's passenger seat, enjoying the air conditioning. Just as I closed my eyes, my cell phone rang. It was Grandma. Grace, darling, have you gotten your marriage license? Her voice was kind and warm, tinged with impatience. I glanced at Alex, who was driving leisurely beside me. I quietly responded. Yes, I did. Only, in the space for the spouse's name on the certificate. It wasn't Marcus. It was Alex. That's wonderful. Grandma's laughter carried through the phone. Today is Ava's birthday. I've cooked dinner at home. Grace, why don't you come back and eat with us? It'll be a double celebration, and we can make it lively. I was silent for a moment. Grandma had always been good to me. When she was young, she was a renowned female entrepreneur in Bridgewater. She was always kind to people. After I lost my own grandmother, she seemed to fill that void. I nodded. Okay, I'll go. Some things needed to be cleared up face to face. After hanging up, Alex held the steering wheel with one hand, turning his head to look at me. Going to the Hayes residence? Yes, Grandma has always been kind to me. I'll go with you, he said, as if it were obvious. I pursed my lips and smiled. You're going in that red leather jacket? What if you give someone a heart attack on the spot? He shrugged, looking unfazed. Then I'll go home and change into a suit now. I'm worried you'll be bullied. I gazed into the distance, my voice chilling. It's fine, I can handle it myself. Some things need to end now. Alex seemed reluctant. Then give me a kiss as a reward. I rolled my eyes at him. You owe me. After getting out of the car, I took a taxi to the Hayes residence. The estate was still as imposing as ever. A red carpet was laid out in the garden. The hall was brightly lit, filled with relatives. The moment I stepped through the door, Marcus was standing by the dining table. He was holding a wine glass in his hand, smiling warmly at everyone. His sister, Ava, was specifically wearing a puffy white high-waisted tiered dress. Her belly was noticeably rounded. Her makeup was light. She looked obedient and demure, like a little princess. But I knew. She wasn't wearing that dress to look pretty. It was to hide her pregnancy. Among the Hayes family, only and I knew what was hidden in that belly. When she saw me, she still asked in a sugary voice. Brother, has your girlfriend arrived? Why don't you go get her? Marcus frowned, looking reluctant, and walked over to me. I ignored his offered arm and slowly turned away. Marcus's face instantly darkened. I went to the backyard to see Grandma. The lights in the old house in the backyard were a warm yellow. Old walls were covered in vines. The scent of old times mingled with the aroma of freshly cooked food, wafting towards me. Grandma came out smiling to greet me. She was wearing her favorite blue and white patterned silk dress, and took my hand to lead me to a seat. Grace, dear, Grandma has waited for this day for so long. Once you two are married, our family will be complete. As she spoke, she had a member of the household staff bring over a brocade box. She opened it, revealing a warm, translucent heirloom jade bangle. It glowed with a brilliant luster and was of excellent quality. This bangle is an heirloom from his grandmother, passed down to the daughters-in-law. I didn't give it to his mother. Grandma is giving it to you now. My fingertips stiffened. Before I could refuse, a familiar voice came from the doorway. Grandma, we're here. Let's go to the front to eat cake together. Marcus walked in, with Ava following him. All right, let's go celebrate Ava's birthday first. Marcus helped Grandma, walking ahead. Ava followed behind me, her steps light. Her eyes were slightly downcast, a smile playing on her lips. When she reached my side, she whispered to me. You're so kind, big sister. Willing to raise someone else's child. Not everyone has such a saintly heart. I smiled, but didn't answer. Without a change in expression, I watched them take their seats. Ava dutifully snuggled up next to Grandma, and pulled Marcus down to sit beside her. She pointed to the seat next to Marcus, smiling sweetly. Do you want to sit next to my brother? I sat down accordingly. Grandma scooped a generous portion of food into my bowl, beaming. You two should visit more often from now on. Once you're married, you'll be family. I looked at Marcus. He leaned in close to my ear, his tone dismissive. I told Grandma we already got the marriage license. I didn't want her to be happy for nothing. As long as you agree to raise Ava's child, I'll go register our marriage with you. Ava is still young and needs to go to school. If word of her pregnancy gets out, people will talk. He paused, then added. If the child is raised with us, she'll be at ease, and so will I. I felt as if I'd just heard the most ridiculous joke. Without changing my expression, I looked up and smiled. You're getting ahead of yourself. The chandeliers in the banquet hall cast dazzling light. The dishes on the table were exquisite, appealing to sight, smell, and taste. On the table was a custom-made 5-tier strawberry cream cake. Marcus stood up. He handed Ava a silver gray high-heel shoe box from behind him. Happy birthday, this is a gift your sister-in-law and I picked out for you. She took it with a smile, opened the lid, and her eyes lit up. Brother, you remembered. It was the latest model from CL, diamond-studded red-soled high heels. A global limited edition. I suddenly remembered my birthday last month. When he gave me a pair of shoes, he had smiled just as gently. There's only one pair in the world, and I bought them especially for you. But now, it seemed, I might have received a fake. My lips curled into a silent smile, a silent laugh escaped me. The irony was stark. Marcus noticed my expression. He immediately leaned closer, whispering to appease me. Grace, Ava has wanted these for a long time. I just want her to be a little happier. As for your pair, you have plenty of shoes anyway. I'll buy you a real pair next time to make it up to you. I looked at his self-righteous expression. I gave a soft chuckle. You don't mind me wearing fake shoes, and you don't mind me raising your sister's child. You're the real saint here. He froze. He didn't catch the sharpness in my words. The cake was cut. The cream emitted a sweet fragrance. A member of the household staff cut the first slice and offered it to me. Marcus too. It, and smiling, placed it in my hand. I didn't even look at it. I let go. The slice of cake fell onto the marble floor, scattering cream everywhere. The entire hall fell silent. Marcus's face darkened. Grace, what are you doing? I looked at him and slowly smiled. I wouldn't dare eat your family's cake. I stood up, scanning the room. What if, after eating it, I inexplicably end up with a child? Ava's smile froze on her face. Her face instantly turned pale. Grandma quickly came over and grabbed my arm. Grace, what's wrong? Are you misunderstanding something? I slowly smiled. Grandma, Marcus, and I have already broken up. From now on, I won't be coming here anymore. Her hand trembled, and she let go of me. I turned and walked away without looking back. Outside the door, the night wind hit my face. A pair of headlights lit up in front of me. The familiar sports car pulled to a stop, and Alex swiftly stepped out of the driver's seat. He had changed into a dress shirt. His hair was windswept. There was still unwiped sweat on his forehead. I knew you wouldn't be able to handle it alone, he said, reaching up to brush the wind-tousled hair from my face. So, how did it go? No one dared bully you, right? I couldn't help myself. I laughed and threw myself into his arms. This scene happened to catch Marcus's eye. The night was deep. The city lights were like a vast net, trapping people in persistent obsessions that refused to dissipate. I had just finished showering. When I came out, my cell phone rang. It was Marcus. I stared at the familiar number and pressed the answer button. What exactly did you mean at the banquet today? He started with an accusation. His voice was filled with suppressed rage. I tucked my hair behind my ear, my tone faint. Literally what I said. Marcus, I told you we broke up, and I won't be going to the Hayes residence anymore. You're making such a fuss over that small matter? He didn't dare mention the word pregnant, afraid some one might overhear the truth. I scoffed. Your sister is pregnant, and you want me to help you keep it a secret, even registering the child under my name. Do you really think I'm just a backup? He was silent for a few seconds, and when he spoke again, his voice was softer. That's not what I meant. Grace, I'm just too worried about Ava. She's only 18, and she's about to go to college. What will happen to her future if this gets out? So you came to me to clean up her mess? My tone was sharp and merciless. She's your sister, and I'm certainly not your mother. He fell silent. On his end, he seemed to catch his breath, trying to calm down and slowly appease me. Grace, don't be like this. You know I want a future with you. The child was an accident. If we live our lives together, and her child is raised in our home, isn't it the same? The same? I chuckled softly, my nail lightly scraping the tabletop. What? Is the child yours? Those words struck him like lightning, leaving him silent for a long moment. Then, he exploded in a loss of control. Grace, what nonsense are you spouting? Nonsense? I interrupted him. You're so invested, you act less like a brother and more like the actual father. On his end, I heard a few heavy breaths, but he couldn't find a single word to refute me. After a long pause, he finally managed to squeeze out. You're just trying to provoke me. I didn't bother listening any further, and hung up the phone. The moment the call ended, the room fell silent again. Outside the window, the night was as dark as ink. Distant car lights trailed streaks of light. The dappled tree shadows on the street were much like the years Marcus and I had spent together. We had embraced, but our paths had long since diverged. I placed my cell phone face down on the table, and took a deep breath. I wouldn't look back again. This relationship, which felt orchestrated. I was out. It was late at night. I curled up on the sofa, sipping the freshly brewed black tea. The tea was bitter, but not as bitter as the faint ache in my heart. I thought back to the years Marcus and I had spent together. We met in college. He was tall, handsome, and a popular figure in our department. Yet he only had eyes for me, pursuing me for an entire semester. Marcus was indeed wonderful back then. He would cook and bring me porridge when I stayed up late working on papers. He'd warm my hands in winter. He'd take me to eat the roasted chestnuts his mother often made when he was a child. But every time our relationship began to warm, Ava would appear at just the right moment, disrupting everything. She was the Hayes family's adopted daughter, 3 years younger than me. Ever since Marcus and I started dating, she would casually show up in front of us. The first time, Marcus and I had planned to go to an amusement park. But when we got to the entrance, he took a call and said, "My sister is crying at home alone. Her teacher criticized her. I need to go check on her." I understood, and smiled, saying I'd wait for him. But that day, he was gone for the entire day. That evening, he finally texted me back. I was helping Ava with her homework. It got too late, and my cell phone died. The second time was on my birthday. He had planned to take me to a French restaurant. Just before we left, Ava sent him a photo, saying she had fallen and her knee was red and scraped. He immediately canceled the reservation, leaving me alone on the street. He explained to me, "She's young, and for a girl to fall and get hurt, it's very upsetting. You understand, right?" Of course I understood. But similar incidents became more and more frequent. He'd take me on a picnic. She'd call him away, saying she wanted strawberries. We'd have a movie date. She'd insist he take her for tutoring. Even when I was sick with a fever, lying in the hospital, he only stayed for a few minutes before rushing off, saying, "Ava has her grade 9 piano exam today. I promised to pick her up." In's heart, I was clearly not the most important person. Every time he made a choice, he would unequivocally side with Ava. This sister. She was like a thin, tightly wound thread, binding and tightening around our relationship, until it bled profusely. Sometimes I asked myself, does he really love me? But if he did love me, why was he always unwilling to let her suffer even the slightest grievance? Yet he allowed me to be heartbroken again and again? Love that was so biased deserved to be replaced. Early autumn at Bridgewater University. Ginkgo leaves had fallen, carpeting the ground in gold. I walked into the psychology building, crunching through the thick layer of fallen leaves. I was an early admission graduate student. My advisor happened to have an opening for a TA position for an undergraduate course. Naturally, I became a teaching assistant for the undergraduate psychology course. 3 months after the semester started, the classroom was still packed. The freshmen were excited yet reserved. They chattered, discussing which professor was attractive and which TA was kind. I lowered my head, organizing my lecture notes. Suddenly, there was a stir at the door. "Look, look. He's so handsome." I looked up, and saw him. Marcus. He was dressed in a sharp suit, his demeanor cold and rigid. He stood not far from the classroom entrance, seeing someone off. Beside him stood a familiar figure. Ava. She was wearing a short, tight denim jacket, revealing a sliver of her slender waist. Her face wore light makeup. Her lip color was gentle and innocent. Her belly had almost returned to normal. She looked just like an innocent freshman. Clean, pure, and fragile. She had taken 3 months of sick leave, and everyone thought she was unwell. But I knew. She had been to deliver her baby. And now, she was back. As if nothing had happened. Marcus spotted me immediately. His eyes held a hint of mockery and impatience. He frowned, his voice deliberately cold. "What are you doing here? Are you following me all the way to school?" I instinctively wanted to laugh. Follow him? Oh, yes. Back then, when he was jealous, I did follow him to appease him. But that was before I knew how biased and selfish he truly was. I gently closed my lecture notes, turned, walked up to him, and smiled gracefully. "You're mistaken. I'm not here to follow you. I'm a graduate student at Bridgewater University, and I'm the TA for this course." His expression changed slightly. Clearly, he hadn't expected me to still be at Bridgewater University. Oh, and by the way, I added unhurriedly, with a gentle smile, I don't have time to watch your sister play the innocent victim. It's her first day back at school, hasn't she fully recovered yet? There are too many students. What if someone accidentally bumps into her stomach? TSK, the consequences could be serious. Ava's face stiffened for a moment, but she quickly put on a gentle and understanding facade again. She tugged on Marcus's sleeve, whispering, "Brother, forget it. She's a teacher, let's not disrupt the class. We need to be well behaved." I looked at her innocent face, and suddenly found it amusing. This sister not only knew how to feign weakness, but also how to put on airs. The next day, when I went to school, dawn was just breaking. I wore a beige trench coat, with my backpack slung diagonally, perfectly concealing my waistline. Walking along the campus's tree-lined path, as usual, I listened to a podcast, preparing for today's lecture. But something felt off today. As I passed the campus, a girl nudged the person next to her, whispering, "That's her, see? She's so pretty, it's not surprising, is it?" At the entrance of the academic building, a male student looked at me, and whistled. My buddy was right, grad students really know how to have fun. She even had a baby. I frowned. I took off my headphones, my gaze sweeping over them. It held a sharp edge. No one dared to make another sound. It wasn't until I entered the psychology department office that I fully understood what was happening. A senior student from my department glanced at me, hesitating to speak. "Ms. Grace, are there, rumors about your private life recently? Don't worry, I'll help you find out who's spreading them." Private life? I was baffled, until a few girls from the student council secretly came to tell me. "Teacher, do you know? Someone posted on the school forum, claiming you were pregnant out of wedlock, that you'd already given birth, and that Marcus adopted your child. They said you became a graduate student as a cover-up, but in reality, it was an excuse to find a boyfriend to register the child under his name." I was momentarily speechless, then I laughed in anger. Who was so talented at fabricating a story like a palace drama? Who spread this? The girl hesitated, then handed me her cell phone. On the screen was a screenshot of a newly leaked chat log. The accompanying image was a college entrance exam medical report. The name of the examinee was obscured and blurry, but the remarks section clearly stated, "4 months pregnant, advised to rest." I recognized it at a glance. This was Ava's pregnancy, but the key point was, she was pinning this report on me. She cried and explained to people, saying she hadn't done anything, that I had stolen her brother, and framed her for the child, and that I had confused the medical reports and leaked them. It's Grace's, of course. She and my brother have always been dating. She's pregnant with my brother's child, that's why he's helping her raise it. I'm only 18, how could I be pregnant? Now that they've broken up, Grace is too afraid to admit it. When she said this, she probably truly believed it. Her expression was one of grievance, innocence, and extreme confidence. As if she truly were the victim. I stood on the second floor of the psychology building, leaning against the window, watching the morning fog over the sports field below gradually dissipate. Someone told me Ava would be attending class today. I grabbed my lecture notes and headed to the academic building, to their classroom. Just as I reached the door, I heard soft sobbing inside. "I'm really not pregnant. They're just jealous and making things up to harm me. How will I ever date again after this?" Her tone was soft and sweet, with a hint of a choked sob and grievance. It was precisely the kind of voice that evoked sympathy. I stood at the door for 3 seconds, then pushed it open and walked in. The classroom instantly fell silent. The moment she saw me, the almost crying expression on her face immediately shifted. Her eyes lit up, as if she had finally found her savior. She quickly walked towards me. "Grace!" She grabbed my arm, speaking softly and urgently. "Just admit it, okay? If you admit it, my brother will marry you. You wouldn't want the child to be nameless and without a proper family, would you? She winked at me, emphasizing the phrase, "my brother will marry you." Did she really think I was so desperate to marry into the Hayes family? I smiled. Her voice was quiet enough, but the surrounding students' ears were sharp enough. Several gazes instantly turned our way. Surprise, shock, gossip, disdain. All were present. I looked down at her hands, which were glowing white. "This act of yours is truly remarkable. From the pregnancy test results, to slandering me, and then trying to make me confess, you directed and performed it all so naturally. Ava, do you really not want to continue your studies?" Her face went pale. Before she could speak, a flurry of footsteps echoed from outside the classroom. Marcus rushed in, sweat beading on his forehead. He saw me. His eyes immediately blazed with anger, and without a word, he came forward. Slap, he slapped me across the face. My head reeled from the blow, and half my face stung with a burning pain. I slapped him back, hard. TSK, my hand hurt from it. The entire class erupted. Someone couldn't help but exclaim, "Ms. Grace sure is quick on her feet." Marcus snarled through gritted teeth. "Why are you slandering Ava? She's only 18, why are you so vicious?" I lifted my head, my cheeks flushed, my eyes filled with coldness. "Marcus, are you out of your mind? Do you really think I'm so desperate to marry you? Who was it who said 6 months ago that he wanted to register his sister's child under my name? And who is now turning around and accusing me of slandering her?" My tone wasn't loud, but every word was powerful. "Do you even know who I am? How dare you insult me so brazenly? Marcus, you and your sister are equally disgusting." Marcus froze. Ava's face was ashen, her lips trembling slightly. She realized. This play, it seemed, had flopped. Slap, while was still stunned. I delivered a resounding slap directly to her face, showing no mercy. Her head snapped to the side. Then she froze, covering her face, her eyes alarmingly red. Silence descended all around. I looked at her emotionlessly, but my voice was crystal clear. "You like acting, don't you? Then I'll put on a show too. This show is called Beating the Schemer." Among the students, someone raised their cell phone, recording rapidly, and a busybody even whispered a running commentary. "This Grace is a psychology graduate student. She just got slapped by the guy, and the girl over there is still pretending to be innocent. Wow, Ms. Grace just slapped the girl back. A reversal. A total reversal. What a drama of a wealthy family's grievances. Follow me for the juicy updates." Seeing me strike, Marcus was consumed by rage. He raised a hand high, clearly about to bring it down. But I suddenly raised my hand to stop him. "Wait." From outside the door, a deep voice rang out. "Ms. Grace." Everyone turned their heads. A middle-aged man who looked like a butler walked in, impeccably dressed in a suit, holding several documents. He quickly walked to my side. Andy respectfully handed me lab results and medical reports. He also held a tablet playing a clear video. In the video, Ava was walking towards the hospital with a prominent belly, limping and holding her back. Marcus was supporting her, carefully. The background was clear, the hospital sign prominent, and the date was shortly after last year's college entrance exams. "These are Ava's ultrasound report, and her hospitalization records during her pregnancy," the butler said calmly. "Attached is a paternity test results, and the child's father is Marcus." Boom, the classroom erupted into chaos. Holy cow. It's actually true? So when they said Grace was pregnant out of wedlock, it was all a setup? This sister. She's not a biological sister, is she? To actually be with her brother. I walked forward without a change in expression, and slapped the paternity test results onto Marcus's face. "You have a lot of nerve, Marcus." I gave a cold laugh. "You want me to raise a child for you and your sister? Are you worthy?" Marcus's face was ashen, his mouth twitching, as he tried to maintain his composure. "After the scene you've caused today, I'm telling you, I will never marry you. Who are you going to marry?" A clear voice rang out from the doorway, carrying an indefinable hint of amusement. Everyone looked over. A tall, slender young man was leaning against the doorframe. He was wearing a custom-tailored suit, had taken off his sunglasses, and was holding a small, dark gold folding fan. Wow, who is that? So handsome, so much more handsome than Marcus. My lips curved into a smile. "What are you doing here?" Alex fanned himself, walked into the classroom, and put an arm around my shoulder. My wife was bullied. How could I, her husband, not come? Mr. Alfred followed behind him, bowing his head and respectfully calling out, "Alex." The students were dumbfounded. Alex, as if on center stage, waved his hand. Keep it down, keep it down. My wife doesn't lee. Who to show off," he said, clearing his throat. He pulled out a bright red document from his pocket, and flashed it before everyone's eyes. "See clearly. Stamped by the City Hall Registrar, a genuine marriage certificate." He opened the document, and pointed to the names, reading them aloud. "Grace. Alex." Marcus's face instantly turned deathly pale, as if he had been struck over the head with a club. He looked at me, then at Alex. His lips trembled a few times, but he couldn't utter a single word. I patted Alex's hand. "Reliable." Alex grinned triumphantly. "Of course. Anything my wife tells me to do, I have to do well." The video's virality far exceeded everyone's expectations. brother, sister, child, graduate slandered, teacher incident. Any of these keywords, when pulled out, had the potential to be a trending topic. Not to mention, netizens were swooning over Alex's declaration that no one can bully my wife, flooding the comment section. Watching the handsome guy go wild defending the beautiful sister, I'm here for it. This sister's manipulative acting is pretty good. I suggest she go straight into a drama. I'm still confused. Is Marcus her biological brother or her biological father? Within a day, the topic's popularity soared into the top 3 trending short videos. The family couldn't sit still. In less than half a day, Grandpa intervened. He used his network of connections, accumulated over many years, to forcibly remove and clear all related videos and leaked content from the entire internet. The speed and ruthlessness of his actions were astounding. 2 days later, Marcus's parents flew back from abroad in a hurry. As soon as they landed, they were ambushed by a crowd of reporters at the airport, who questioned them until their faces turned ashen. The internet, after all, was not so easily controlled. The videos were deleted, but what about the screenshots, retellings, screen recordings, and viral posts? I scrolled through my cell phone, coolly watching the topic's popularity remain stubbornly high. The university was furious. It announced the decision to expel Ava. The parents could no longer sit idly by, and rushed to my house overnight, carrying gifts and adopting a knowing they're wrong and admitting it posture. They stood at the door, humble and subservient. Grandma stood before me, her eyes red-rimmed, leaning on her cane, and took my hand. Grace, we are truly sorry for what we've done to you. Our entire family has wronged you. Before she could finish, she suddenly slammed her cane hard onto Marcus's leg. It was no light blow, making his leg give out and him stumble. You scoundrel. That girl was with you for 4 years. What kind of things have you done? Kneel. Marcus gritted his teeth, his face grim, but he stubbornly refused to kneel. Grandma, still not kneeling? Grandpa said coldly, but merely stood with his head bowed, remaining motionless. Mr. Thomas and Mrs. Susan quickly tried to mediate. Grace, we truly came to apologize. This whole situation has become so embarrassing for us, we hope you can understand. How about we handle this privately and prevent it from escalating online? I watched their entire family systematically shift the blame onto the internet. Not a single one of them truly grasped what they had done wrong. Today, Alex had been standing quietly by my side. He wasn't dressed as ostentatiously as he usually was. A light gray dress shirt, black trousers. He exuded a composure that made him almost barely recognizable. After listening to their words, he let out a low chuckle. He took a step forward, his voice hushed and chillingly cold. Your children can act recklessly, ruin someone's reputation, and just play coy to end it. So, does that mean my wife can also hit people, lie, slander others, and then just say sorry and be done with it? Mr. Thomas's face stiffened. That's not what we meant. Then what exactly do you mean? Alex stared at them, all trace of humor gone from his eyes. Why should Grace put up with your bullying? I gently patted his arm and stepped forward. You want me to forgive you? My tone was calm, yet every word was clear. Fine. I pointed at Marcus, then at Ava. Have them both kneel and beg for forgiveness. The family's expressions collectively changed. I stood under the lights, a smile playing on my lips. Otherwise, you can look forward to the second wave of trending topics tomorrow. The family's faces remained frozen. Marcus and Ava's faces were etched with humiliation. Yet they stubbornly held their ground, refusing to kneel. As the atmosphere remained tense, the doorbell suddenly rang. I hadn't moved yet. Alex had already gone to open the door. Immediately after, a middle-aged couple walked in from outside. Their attire was simple. Yet their aura was so sharp it was intimidating. The man's gaze was profound, the woman's steps firm. The moment they appeared, everyone from the Hayes family went pale. Chairman, Ms. Eleanor? Why are you here? I sighed softly. Dad, Mom. Why did you come? The family stared at me in astonishment. My parents. Mr. David, the richest man in Bridgewater, controls the Sioux. Ms. Eleanor, a renowned psychology expert, commands countless educational resources. They had always given me a hands-off, free-range education, rarely making public appearances. But today, they had, for the first time, stood by my side. Grace has been wronged, of course we had to come. Mom looked at me and gently pulled me closer. Child, couldn't you have just called us? I didn't speak, murmuring softly, I can handle it myself. My dad had already begun. From today onward, all collaborations between the Sioux and the Hayes residents are suspended. For projects already underway, We would rather breach the contract than continue. Mr. Thomas sharply looked over. Mr. Sue, this isn't necessary, is it? You bully my daughter, and you still expect me to pave the way. Why for you? Mr. David sneered. I don't tolerate such behavior. Alex leaned against the wall, one hand in his pocket. He lazily snapped his fingers, letting out a tisk sound. I told you my wife likes to keep a low profile, but you wouldn't believe me. The family members were filled with bitter regret. Me. Grace, who had always been quiet and studious, was the rumored never-seen-in-public youngest daughter of the Sioux. She was Mr. David's only treasured daughter. And the child they adopted not only had an affair with my boyfriend but also wanted me to clean up their mess. How ridiculous. Marcus and Ava finally lowered their haughty heads under everyone's pressure. The moment their knees hit the marble floor in my living room, their faces were full of humiliation and resentment. Where was their earlier self-righteous arrogance now? I glanced at them, then coldly waved my hand. These cowards are disgusting. It was as if the Hayes family had all been slapped simultaneously. They slunk away. As soon as the door closed, the house became quiet. My dad shot Alex a cool glance. Alex, I watched you grow up. You married my daughter? Without even a ceremony? Do you plan to just brush it off like that? Alex seemed frozen in place. The next second, he rushed forward like a fawning sycophant. No, 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 I'm planning it. I've written the wedding itinerary 3 times already. My wife's older brothers are all on their way back to the country, and Grandpa said the wedding must be grand. Don't worry, I won't let Grace suffer any disadvantage. My dad nodded indifferently, his tone lukewarm. It better be. Only after my parents had left did Alex finally sigh in relief. He immediately rushed over with a small folding fan to attend to me, fanning me while starting to prattle. Wifey, please don't be angry. It was me who called your parents to stand up for you. Can't I be forgiven if I admit I was wrong? Wifey, you were so cool just now, you made my knees wee. Kay, but please don't give me the silent treatment now. Wifey, say something. Don't ignore me. I reached out and directly pinched his chattering mouth shut. With a light squeeze, the world went quiet. I glanced at him. I've taken leave from school. Go prepare for the wedding. His eyes instantly lit up, like a joyful puppy. He solemnly pressed a kiss into my palm, his eyes crinkling into a smile. Yes, my dear wife. Sunlight streamed in, illuminating the warmth and sincerity in his smile. This time, it was my heart that skipped a few beats. 1 in the morning. I had just finished showering and was lying in bed, wearing a face mask. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. The household staff, utterly bewildered, went to open the door. But as soon as they opened it, their jaws dropped. 2 black executive sedans were steadily parked in front of the door. The headlights were still on when Uncle and Aunt stepped out of the cars, each carrying chests. Quick. Be gentle, don't wake my daughter-in-law. Yes, the gifts must be arranged neatly, just like we rehearsed. The household staff quickly came to knock on my bedroom door. Ms. Grace. No, Mrs. Alex, Uncle and Aunt are here. Before I could react, I heard Uncle's excited voice from outside. Grace, my heart still hasn't calmed down. That scoundrel son of mine finally managed to marry you. I walked out, wearing my robe. I saw 2 rows of household staff carefully carrying chests and arranging them in the living room. The chests were opened. At a glance, they were filled with gold and jewelry. There were also several antique porcelain pieces, tightly wrapped and exquisitely translucent. Their mere texture spoke of their extraordinary quality. Uncle's eyes were teary, and his voice trembled slightly. That wretched boy of mine finally did something right. Grace, if he ever dares to treat you badly, you tell your dad. Our family has over 100 bodyguards for you to choose from. And, even more anxious. And worried, held my hand. Grace, tell me, you weren't forced into this, were you? If you were kidnapped, just blink, and I'll sort it out for you. I couldn't help it. I laughed until tears streamed down my face. No, and Alex treats me very well. I'm doing this voluntarily. Really? She still wasn't reassured. Just then, the front door burst open with a bang. Alex rushed in, looking disheveled. His hair was still messy, looking as if he had just tumbled out of bed. The moment he entered, he shouted at his parents, "If you're going to visit, why bring so many things? It's late, what if you wake my wife?" Then, while ushering his parents toward the door, he didn't forget to turn back and instruct the household staff, "Just leave the gifts, you can go now. Wifey." His expression instantly softened, and he ran over, smiling. He massaged my shoulders while gently nudging me towards the bedroom. "Don't mind them, go to sleep early. We have to look at wedding gowns together tomorrow. Good night, wifey. The moment the door closed, silence filled the living room for a few seconds. Uncle rubbed his nose, whispering to Aunt, "It's true. Our family really is getting a daughter-in-law." Aunt nodded gently, her eyes filled with a smile. Their long-awaited daughter-in-law had finally arrived. Alex and my wedding was grand and joyous. It was held at a private on a hillside. The celebration lasted 3 days and 3 nights. The guest list alone spanned 10 pages. From domestic and international dignitaries and business moguls, to my university classmates and neighbors, everyone was invited. On the wedding day, the sun was perfect. I wore a custom-tailored, handmade bridal gown. The train was so long it almost covered the entire lawn. Beaded tulle shimmered, interwoven with gold embroidery. I felt as if I were stepping through shimmering light. At the end of the red carpet, Alex was dressed in a platinum suit. He looked incredibly handsome. He stood amidst a pile of flowers. His gaze hadn't left me from the moment I appeared. The officiant asked, "Mr. Alex, do you take Ms. Grace as your wife, through prosperity and adversity, in sickness and in health, in life and in death?" He didn't wait for the officiant to finish, nodding firmly, "I do." He held my hand, his voice exceptionally solemn, "I do. From today forward, I will cherish her for a lifetime. If she says east, I will never go west. If she says it's cold, I will absolutely not be warm." The audience chuckled. He then looked down at me, so earnestly it was as if he were making a lifelong vow. "Grace is my sky, my earth, my one and only destiny." I chuckled softly, tears in my eyes. After the wedding, fireworks lit up the entire city. Our photo graced the cover of a financial magazine, with the caption, "Heir to the Alex marries, doting on her, envied." Later, when I went to class, he would drive me there and back. If I craved a late-night snack, he would get up in the middle of the night to cook for me, even slicing fruit into heart shapes. When I had my graduate thesis defense, he stood downstairs from the academic building with flowers and a megaphone. "Grace is my wife. Let my wife go first, and don't any of you dare to cut in front of her." Then, later, I became pregnant. Alex held my belly and beamed foolishly all night, murmuring in my ear, "Wifey, you've worked hard. With the baby, the 3 of us will be a kingdom." He said solemnly, "You are the queen, you make the rules. The baby and I will both listen to you." The wind was warm, the sky was blue. And the one cherished in my heart, always looked at me, his gaze fervent yet tender. This journey had been full of ups and downs. In the end, I was his only princess, and he was my destined home. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share your perspectives, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.